Antoine Walker made $108 million playing in the NBA. 2 years after he retired, he filed for bankruptcy. He wasn't reckless with a few $1,000s. He earned more than most people will see in 1,000 lifetimes, and it was gone, not slowly, in about 24 months. And he is not the exception, he's the rule. According to Sports Illustrated, roughly 78% of NFL players are broke or under serious financial stress within 2 years of leaving the game. In the NBA, 60% have nothing left after 5. The money didn't vanish. Something took it, piece by piece. This is the machine that turns a $100 million career into zero. And right now, it's swallowing a brand new generation, younger than ever. We're going to follow the money from the second they sign, all the way to the moment it's gone. Every door it leaks out of. Every hand that takes a piece. Start with the number everyone sees. A player signs for $100 million. That's the headline. That's the number that flashes on the screen. But the player never touches $100 million, not even close. And the gap between that headline and what actually lands in his account is the first thing nobody explains. And in the NFL, it's worse, because that 100 million number often isn't even real. Unlike the NBA or baseball, NFL contracts are mostly not guaranteed. The team can cut a player tomorrow and owe him nothing but the guaranteed portion, usually just the signing bonus. When Jawan Taylor signed what was announced as an $80 million deal, only $60 million of it was actually guaranteed. The headline is a marketing number. The guarantee is the real contract, and it's always smaller. First, the federal government. Top earners sit in the highest bracket, around 37% off the top. Then, the states. And here's the one almost nobody outside the locker room understands. The jock tax. A professional athlete owes income tax in every single state he plays a game in. A road schedule isn't a calendar, it's a dozen separate state tax bills. Aaron Rodgers reportedly paid around $400,000 in jock tax in a single year, just for showing up to play in other states. Then the agent. In the NFL, that's capped at 3%. In the NBA, up to 4%. On a $100 million deal, the agent's cut alone is $3 to $4 million before the player has bought a single thing. So let's actually add it up. Federal taxes, state taxes, the jock tax in a dozen states. The agent, when the dust settles, a top athlete keeps somewhere between 40 and 50% of what the contract says. That $100 million deal you saw on the screen? Call it $45 million in his hand. Antoine Walker put the scale of it in one sentence. He paid $55.2 million in taxes on his career earnings. More than half of everything he made went to the government before a single bad decision was even possible. $45 million is still a fortune, so how is it gone in 2 years? Because the career that produces it is even shorter than you think. Here's the number that breaks the entire thing. The average NFL career lasts 3.3 years. The average NBA career, 4.5. 3 years to earn money that has to last 50. Think about what that actually means. A normal worker earns across 40 years and spends across 40 years, the two roughly match. An athlete earns it all in 3 and then spends for the next 5 decades with no paycheck ever coming in again. And most of them are 23 years old when the music stops. 23 with millions in the bank, no boss, no budget, and not one person in their life who was ever taught what happens next. And here's the psychology the machine runs on. Every one of them believes another contract is always coming. In 2004, Latrell Sprewell, who had already earned around $97 million, was offered a 3-year extension worth $21 million more. He turned it down. His reason, in his own words, "I've got my family to feed." Within a few years, Sprewell's yacht was repossessed and his home went into foreclosure. The $21 million he laughed at would have been the safety net. He was sure there'd be more. There wasn't. This is where the rest of the money actually disappears. Not in one dramatic mistake, in 5 quiet leaks, all running at the same time. The first leak, the people. When you're the one who made it, everyone around you didn't. The childhood friends, the cousins, the guys who've always been there. Allen Iverson, who earned over $200 million, carried an entourage everywhere he went and paid for all of it. Charles Barkley said it as plainly as it can be said. The moment you start handing money to friends and family, it never stops. And the day you stop, they stop being your friends. Iverson would have ended up with absolutely nothing, except for one accident of paperwork. Years earlier, Reebok had quietly set up a trust fund he couldn't touch until he turned 55, around $32 million. The only money Allen Iverson didn't lose was the money someone refused to let him have. The second leak, the lifestyle, the cars, the chains, the mansions. Evander Holyfield earned $230 million and built a 109-room mansion that cost a fortune just to keep the lights on. Luxury doesn't come with a price tag. It comes with a monthly bill, one that keeps arriving long after the last paycheck has cleared. The third leak, the investments they don't understand. Curt Schilling earned about $115 million pitching in the major leagues, then he poured roughly $50 million of his own money into a video game company called 38 Studios. In 2012, it collapsed into bankruptcy, owing $150 million. Schilling didn't just lose the fortune, he lost almost all of it in one bet on an industry he didn't know. The fourth leak, the people they trust to protect it. The money is too big to manage alone, so they hand it to an advisor. Vince Young earned around $26 million in the NFL, and a financial planner reportedly misappropriated $5.5 million of it. The pattern is brutally consistent: money handed to someone the athlete trusted, put into something the athlete never understood. And the fifth leak, themselves. Divorce, child support, and addiction end more fortunes than any bad contract. Iverson's 2010 divorce is what finally revealed he was broke. Mike Tyson, $300 million in career earnings, filed for bankruptcy in 2003, owing $23 million. And Vin Baker, a four-time All-Star who made nearly $100 million, lost all of it to alcoholism, watched the bank foreclose on his homes, and ended up working behind the counter of a Starbucks. 5 leaks, running at once, on money that already got cut in half before he spent a dime. Put the numbers next to each other, because together they're almost impossible to believe. Antoine Walker, $108 million, Allen Iverson, over $200 million, Mike Tyson, $300 million, Evander Holyfield, $230 million, Curt Schilling, $115 million, Vin Baker and Latrell Sprewell, around $100 million each. Add just those names up, well over $1 billion earned by men at the top of their sport, and at their lowest points, almost nothing left between them. This is not bad luck striking the same kind of person again and again. This is a machine working exactly as designed. It takes half in taxes and fees before they touch it, and then lets the other half leak out through 5 open doors nobody ever warned them about. And if you're thinking this is old news, players from another era who just didn't know better, look at what's happening right now, at this very moment. Because of NIL, college athletes are now getting paid millions, and some of them are still teenagers. The market exploded from $1.2 billion to a projected $2.5 billion in 2026. Here's the trap built into it: most of them are paid as independent contractors. That means no taxes are withheld. An 18-year-old gets a check that looks enormous, and quietly owes the government a fortune he never set aside. And there is still no league-wide requirement to teach a single one of them how any of it works. The same machine. A brand new generation. Now starting at 18 instead of 23. So is it hopeless? No, because one man beat the machine completely, and he did it without ever signing a giant contract. His name was Junior Bridgman. He played 12 years in the NBA and never made more than $350,000 in a single season. By the logic of everything we just covered, he should have been the safest bet in this whole story to end up with nothing. Instead, he retired worth $600 million. Here's how. While he was still playing, Bridgman spent his summers working the drive-thru window at a Wendy's. Not for the money, for the knowledge. He learned the business from the inside out. Then he bought one franchise, then 263 of them, plus 123 Chili's. He sold them in 2016 for an estimated $250 million and rolled all of it into a Coca-Cola bottling empire. Junior Bridgman died in 2025, one of the wealthiest former athletes who ever lived. The man who earned the least walked away with the most because he understood the one thing the entire machine depends on you not understanding. The paycheck was never the wealth, it was only ever the seed. So here's the verdict. The reason these men go broke is not that they're stupid. They're handed a fortune at 23, taxed down to half before they touch it, given 3 years to earn it, and then surrounded by an entourage, an industry, an advisor, and sometimes an addiction, all pulling at what's left. And almost none of them are ever taught how a single piece of it works. They didn't lose the money. It was taken. Methodically. Legally. Completely. And here's the cruelest part of all. That $45 million a player keeps, if he simply parked it in a basic index fund and never touched it again, at even a conservative return, it would pay him $2 to $3 million a year, every year, for the rest of his life, without him ever lifting a finger. It was never just a fortune. It was a money-printing machine, handed to a 23-year-old, and almost no one ever tells him the machine is even there. That's the real theft, not the money that left, but the fortune it could have become. This channel breaks down the economics behind the biggest deals in sport. Subscribe because next we're looking at the other side, the athletes who made almost nothing on the field and built fortunes anyway. Bridgman wasn't the only one who beat it. $100 million, 3 years to earn it, 50 years to make it last. And a machine built from the moment they signed to make sure it doesn't.